What is up, people, and welcome back to part 56 of my F1 2016 career mode here at the Italian Grand Prix. If you missed Season 1, Season 2 and the first 13 rounds of this third season, then you can go check those out in the top right corner of your screens with a little card annotation. But we're here at the Italian Grand Prix, which should be theoretically a good circuit for our Force India car. We're very quick in a straight line, and Italy is just made up of straights and a few chicanes. So we should do very well here indeed after a fantastic result at the Belgian Grand Prix, winning that race by about 3 seconds at the end of the day after we had a time penalty. So we'll be looking to do the same here today, try and get another race win and try and get loads more points over Carlos Sainz, who is currently 53 points ahead of us in the championship. So we still have that uphill battle to try and beat Carlos Sainz in the championship, but we are still determined to go and do that. We upgrade our engine last time out the Belgian Grand Prix, so let's head over to Chris and see what he has to say about that.
Hey, good to see you again. The factory sent over the parts that were looking good on the rig. They're being fitted as we speak. Have a look at the report.
So, like I just said, we have upgraded the engine last time out at the Belgian Grand Prix, which is going to give us a huge advantage, especially at a track like Italy with a straight line speed that we are going to have over the rest of the teams. I'm really looking forward to utilise that and, you know, just get guys on the straight and get as many overtakes as I possibly can. Haas and Sauber have both upgraded their cars, and so have Ferrari. So let's see whereabouts that puts Ferrari in the vehicle performance comparison. Oh, it's very close between Force India, Renault, Ferrari. Mercedes have dropped off a little bit, and then all the other teams start to drop off quite a bit all the way down to Williams. But it is kind of close between Force India and Williams. Sauber nowhere near it, and Toro Rosso are just dominating at the front of the field. But now we're going to start to save up the resource points. You guys, it's sort of mixed amongst you guys whether you want me to cease the research and development or carry on throughout the rest of the season. So keep on leaving your comments down below, keep on voting in the polls I have going on through the video, whether you want me to cease research and development at the Singapore Grand Prix or whether you want me to carry on and get upgrades to try and challenge for the championship. But I'm thinking about next probably going to go for the downforce if I can get 1,150 resource points by the end of the Singapore Grand Prix. Then we're probably going to upgrade that one. But if you want me to upgrade the chassis weight, then let me know. So that rounds up the update on the vehicle performance. Let's head over to practice. Here we are then for practice for the Italian Grand Prix, and we'll be looking to get loads of resource points in these sessions because we want to upgrade the downforce on our car ready for the tracks like Singapore, Malaysia, Japan, America, all the rest of the tracks which aren't really power tracks now that we've upgraded the engine and the straight line speed. But we do the track acclimatization, get a purple score, get the full 50 points on that one, which is absolutely fantastic. 22nd in the standings, but like I always say, times don't really matter in FP1 and FP2. Here we are in FP2 going round through the tyre wear management. Unfortunately, only able to get a green score. As you can see, we just about get 60 points there in the tyre wear management, which means on the final lap, we won't be able to get enough points to get the 80 points for the purple score. So it's only 30 points in that one, which was a little bit disappointing, but we'll be looking to do better this time around through the qualifying objective. Coming around the final corner through the parabolica, down towards the line. What is it good enough for? It's only good enough for a green score, only good enough for the 30 points, and a little bit disappointed once again, but still it's a good amount of resource points we're going to use to upgrade the car, hopefully after the Singapore Grand Prix, but might have to be possibly at the Malaysian Grand Prix if we don't cease research and development. But at the end of the day, third in the standings, which sets us up really nicely for the qualifying session. Hopefully we can try and battle for pole position like we did last night at the Belgian Grand Prix, beating that one by 1,000th of a second. So hopefully we get a bigger margin this time around. But without any further ado, let's head over to qualifying for the Italian Grand Prix. Here we are at Monza then for today's qualifying session. We'll be looking to do what we always do, get out of Q1, get into Q2, and hopefully get into Q3 as well. We should be able to get into Q3. Our car is incredibly quick down the straight on this circuit, so hopefully we do have the power to do that. But first lap in qualifying, it's a 1:22.006, which so far is good enough for 7th place. So that is okay, but we would like to set another lap just to make sure that we are definitely in to Q2. So here we are on our second lap, 1 second faster so far, coming down towards the line. What's the time going to be? It's going to be a 1:20.947, which is good enough for provisional pole position, but we're not going to get that because we're only in Q1, but it's good enough to stay safe and get into Q2, which is exactly what we need. Top of the leaderboard at the moment, and Pascal Wehrlein having a 5-place grid penalty, so disappointing there for the Manor driver. but we're not really going to care too much about him. We're just going to focus on our own qualifying session. Here we are in Q2 right now. First lap on the super soft tyres. Went for a soft strategy on the tyres this time around, not like we did in Belgium, but so far 5th in the standings, and that's going to be good enough to get into Q2. I'm pretty happy with that lap that I'm backing off with the checkered flag coming out, and yes, it is 5th position, a 121.235. We know that we can go faster, dipping into the 120.9, so hopefully we can get something like that in the top 10 shootout, which we are about to go in right now. And here we are on our first lap in the top 10 shootout, coming round the final corner right now, down towards the line. What is the time gonna be good enough for? Danny Kvyat setting a 120.940. We smashed that lap time by 3/10 of a second and getting provisional pole position for the time being. But we'll be going for one more lap. No, he won't. It was good enough for pole position. That's 2 races in a row that we have got pole position in this career mode. Absolutely fantastic result, beating Danny Kvyat this time around, not by 1/1000th of a second, beating him by 2/10, which we are very happy with indeed. So I am lining up on the front row alongside Danny Kvyat in pole position. Carlos Sainz lines up behind us in 3rd place with Sebastian Vettel in 4th. Esteban Gutierrez is on the 3rd row. Julian Palmer alongside him in 6th with Kimi Räikkönen in 7th. Felipe Massa in 8th. My teammate Nico Hülkenberg down in 9th position. A disappointing result for him in qualifying. I'll be hoping that he can make that up through the race, but Pascal Wehrlein rounding out the top 10, but remember he has a 5-place grid penalty as well. So what can we do in today's race? Can we get our 2nd race win in a row? Let's find out as we head over to the race for the Italian Grand Prix. It's race day here at the Monza circuit for round 14 of this season 3 career mode. It's the Italian Grand Prix here at the Temple of Speed, and speed is exactly what we'll be trying to use at this circuit. We're very quick in a straight line. We know that because of all the engine upgrades that we have done and the reduction of drag. We're going to lose a little bit on acceleration because the chassis weight is not quite as good as it should be, but still going to be very, very quick in a straight line. So hopefully we can battle with the likes of the Toro Rossos, the Renaults, which we know are very quick thanks to myself in Season 1 and Season 2. So hopefully we can battle with those guys indeed. Last time out of the Belgian Grand Prix, we got a race win there. We'll be hoping to do something similar here today to try and catch up to Carlos Sainz in the championship. He's on 219 points. We're on 166. The gap is 53 points at this stage of the season. Look at the constructors. Toro Rosso still have a massive margin over us. It's about 140 something points, so we definitely need to catch it up. But there we are, lining up in pole position, a lap time of a 120.661, and Julian Palmer not having the best of qualifying sessions. The Renault have really dropped off since I've left the team, which is unfortunate to see. Maybe they just don't have the drivers to get to the car to the front of the field. But here we are in the car right now, looking at the race strategy for today's race, and I'm not too sure whether to go for a reduced strategy of a 2-stopper or go for the 3-stopper and sort of match the other drivers that are going to be around me. I think the 2-stopper we've done in previous seasons, and it has worked out for us, but we should really be going aggressive because we're at the front of the field. We don't need to go for a position, whereas last time I think we qualified near the back of the field. We've had to go for position. So this time, for now, we're going to settle with the 3-stop strategy, but if we have to change it later at a later date in the race, then we certainly can do that. If the tyre wear is a bit too much, we may come in a lap earlier, or we may come in a lap later if the tyre wear is really, really good. But here we are on the formation lap, getting overtaken by Danny Kvyat momentarily there, but getting back past him. And now we're going to warm up the brakes, warm up the tyres, and head back to the starting grid. And here we are on the grid for today's race. It's round 14. It's 5 red lights. Lights out, and away we go for today's Italian Grand Prix. It's a great start compared to the Toro Rosso of Danny Kvyat. Going down in towards turn 1. Looks like they've had a good second phase of the start though, but under braking down towards turn 1. Danny Kvyat has a little look up the inside. We give him the room around the outside of turn 2. Still side by side with the Toro Rosso driver, but great acceleration out of the corner. And that gets me position on Danny Kvyat for the time being. There's a yellow flag down in towards turn 1. So hopefully we have a replay of what exactly has gone on through there. Then the virtual safety car has come out in today's race. So obviously that collision involving my teammate as well, Nico Hülkenberg, as I just saw on the minimap in the bottom left corner, is involved Nico Hülkenberg. So that's a disappointing start for the other Force India of Nico Hülkenberg. Here's a replay going down in towards turn 1, then watching on board with my Force India teammate. Everyone just sort of get bunched up in towards turn 1. It's very tight through that corner. A lot of cars going 3 wide right now, and it just does not work. As we can see on board with Esteban Gutierrez, Kimi Räikkönen and Nico Hülkenberg. Jenson Button also getting involved in that as well. It looks like Kimi Räikkönen and Nico Hülkenberg sort of getting confused about who's going to reverse and then who's going to go. Kimi Räikkönen finally gets in the car out of the gravel trap, and that is how the virtual safety car was brought out. But here we are on board with Rio Haryanto. Looks like he got caught up as well with Felipe Massa, bumping up into a Renault there and a McLaren. Here's on board with my teammate of Nico Hülkenberg. So going down in towards turn 1, Rio Haryanto with a great start up the inside, going side by side with the Williams. He sort of squeezes out the house of Esteban Gutierrez. That forces these three into the gravel trap. They come back onto the field, and I think there's a little collision there with a McLaren driver as well, and that is what solidifies pushing these two into the gravel and putting them into a spin. Otherwise, they probably would have got back onto the track had that McLaren not been there. But Nico Hülkenberg gets underway once again, and we can carry on with the race as the virtual safety car is now ended, and we are on board with Felipe Massa going for the overtake on Fernando Alonso on the right-hand side of Kevin Magnussen as well. And that's a great move, but looks like Valtteri Bottas looking to try and get involved as well. It's 3 wide once again, involving 2 Williams and a Manor. Who's going to come out on top through here? Not Felipe Massa, who looks like he may. No, it's Valtteri Bottas who gets put into a spin. Felipe Massa then hits his teammate, and he is facing in the wrong direction. Disappointing there for Felipe Massa, who was really weird, has a tyre change midway through that stop and then gets put back onto the super soft tyres. So a little glitch with the game there, but we're just going to ignore that. Disappointing start for Felipe Massa. Had a collision with Rio Haryanto and now his teammate. And here we are on lap 3, on board with the Sauber of Marcus Ericsson, who does exactly the same thing, going 3 wide into turn 2. When are the AI going to learn that it just does not work through there? Unless, of course, it's me, because I managed to do that in F1 2015. I'm just going to put that out there. But Marcus Ericsson, disappointing start to today's race. He's right at the back of the field now, in only on lap 3. So disappointing start for the Sauber driver. But here we are on as early as lap 4. I've decided it's enough of the super soft tyres, deciding to come into the pits, matching what all the other drivers are going to do. As you can see, Carlos Sainz coming into the pits right behind me. No, I think that is actually Danny Kvyat who is coming into the pits right behind me. I'm not too sure actually, but I think it is Danny Kvyat. I'm not 100% though, but we're coming into the pits for a new set of medium tyres, and looks like a lot of the other drivers are doing exactly the same. There are a couple of drivers though out on track who are doing that 2-stop strategy, which worked quite well for me in the last 2 seasons, but unfortunately I just don't think it would have done very well here today, because I started on a worn set of super soft tyres. But here we are going down in towards turn 1, and we are holding our position for the time being. I believe we've dropped down into what is 5th position for the time being, but nevertheless we're still going to be battling with the likes of Carlos Sainz, who is of course our championship rival. He's right on the back of us, going down in towards the parabolica, moving over to the left-hand side. It's going to be side by side between the 2 of us. No, it's not, as it looks like Carlos Sainz does not have a great amount of straight line speed, but very good under braking in towards the parabolica, but not a very good exit at all. But he will have the straight line speed once again, following the slipstream, and will be able to use the DRS, but we will get the DRS on Fernando Alonso, who is just ahead of us. And look at the straight line speed in our Force India. It's Jenson Button, not Fernando Alonso, but nevertheless, the straight line speed in my Force India is absolutely incredible. Going down in towards turn 2, we get a position on Jenson Button and move up into P6 as Fernando Alonso goes straight into the back of a slow-moving manner, which is Rio Haryanto. He's got a front right puncher I can just about see on his car. It looks like Fernando Alonso getting caught up behind him. We saw something very similar happen last month at the Belgian Grand Prix when Nico Rosberg got that puncher, parked on the apex of the bus stop chicane. I guess that's why they call it a bus stop, as Nico Rosberg showed there. Max Verstappen getting caught up in this. I think he's just gone past Roman Grosjean there, as we're going to catch up to the back of this train now. Are we going to settle behind it? No, we're not. We're going to pull over to the right-hand side, get past all these drivers very easy. Max Verstappen sees exactly what I've done. He's like, I want a piece of that action, and gets past all the other guys as well and shoots off into the distance, following behind me, and the chase is on for Max Verstappen. And watching on board with Carlos Sainz, this is going to be really frustrating for my championship rival. He's going to be right to the back of the field, getting bunched up by all these guys. Roman Grosjean, I believe, has just got past as well. So the train is getting bigger and bigger, and all this is doing is falling into my hands, Max Verstappen's hands, and Valtteri Bottas' hands, who is in the lead of the race so far. So all of us are going to get a huge gap on all these guys, and we don't really have to worry about lower than 3rd or 4th position. I think 4th position, because Roman Grosjean got through as well. But this is fantastic news for us in our race. And it just shows, just look at the field, how bunched up and how mixed it is at the moment with all the research and development that has gone on. You can see Ferrari's now at the back, Mercedes at the back, McLaren's at the front, Renault's at the front, Toro Rosso's at the front, Sauber's up there for some reason, even though they should be at the back of the field because the research and development is awful. Manners are up there as well, and looks like the other guys should be able to get past. They're all getting caught up, going into the pit lane, and there is a Renault that has just slammed straight into the back of Felipe Massa. Felipe Massa is out of today's race, and the virtual safety car makes another appearance in today's Italian Grand Prix. So we're going to slow it all down, neutralise the whole field, and it's going to help us out quite a bit because it's going to help us out with tyre wear and saving fuel as well. But here's a replay on board with Felipe Massa going down in towards the pit lane right now, and he just gets taken out by the Renault, which I believe was Jolyon Palmer, put straight into the barrier, losing a tyre, and that is how he is out of the race. Now it's Kevin Magnussen here to watch on board with the Renault driver, and he just doesn't take any care about slowing down because there's slow moving cars ahead of him. He just goes full speed into the back of Felipe Massa, and it could have worked well. It could have worked well for him if he had got that perfect and not hit a car. He would have got so many positions down that straight because of how slow they were going, but unfortunately it did not work out, and he had that collision with Felipe Massa. But here we are on lap 14, deciding it is now time to come into the pits for our second pit stop in this race. Going to take these soft tyres till the end, I believe, which they should be able to last, or maybe we'll go for another set of super softs towards. I think we're going to go for softs and then for a set of super softs at the end of the race and see how this strategy works out. But coming out of the pit lane, I think we're going to rejoin in second position, still just ahead of Max Verstappen, who is coming down the start-finish straight now, I believe. And yes, there is Max Verstappen coming out in third position, so we rejoin the race in second, which is absolutely fantastic. But we need to put in some qualifying laps now to try and catch up to Valtteri Bottas in that Williams, because we do not want him to get the race win. We want to get the race win, especially as Carlos Sainz is struggling once again in today's race. But we're under pressure right now from the Red Bull driver of Max Verstappen. Going down in towards Ascari, he will have DRS and Slipstream to try and overtake us in towards the next corner. Pulling over to the left-hand side by side between myself and Max Verstappen. Who's going to come out on top? We break a little bit early, try and do the cutback move on Max Verstappen. We're going to get a good drive out of this corner to try and get the position back down in towards the Parabolica. But the straight line speed from our car is just so much greater than Max Verstappen in his Red Bull that we just get an easy move up the inside in towards the Parabolica. But Max Verstappen holding it around the outside, just showing how good of a racer he is to try and do that move around the outside. He's got it done. Great move there from Max Verstappen to hold position around the outside of the Parabolica, but once again falling victim to my straight line speed. Even with the help of DRS, he cannot get the move. He can't stick with the move, and we take second place back from the Red Bull driver. But all this defending is doing is allowing Valtteri Bottas to get an even bigger margin out in front as we watch on board with Marcus Ericsson, who had that incident earlier on lap 3. He's now going side by side with a Ferrari of Kimi Räikkönen, I believe it is. Yes, it is Kimi Räikkönen as they go down towards the start straight. No, Marcus Ericsson tries to go into the pit lane, pushes himself into Kimi Räikkönen. How many times have we seen that in this career mode? A driver trying to get into the pit lane, driving into an AI driver and crashing himself out. We've seen it so many times. Most of the collisions that I've probably seen in this career mode from the AI are because they have tried to go into the pit lane when there's a driver on their right or on their left, so they just can't do that, and then they end up losing as well as Nico Hülkenberg there gets very close to the Sauber of Marcus Ericsson. Very lucky not to actually go into him, but here's on board with Jenson Button. Just see exactly what happened. Kimi Räikkönen locks up into the Parabolica, goes literally sideswipes the Sauber of Marcus Ericsson. But here we are down in towards the start-finish straight, and Jenson Button just lifts off. He gets away from the Sauber. No contact there, but I think Nico Hülkenberg had a great run because Jenson Button had to slow down, and Nico Hülkenberg trusts him to take opportunity because of that, and that is what my teammate is all about. That is what we want in Force India. Just get past drivers, even if they have slowed down for an instant. We don't care at all. We're going to get past these drivers, and we are going to try and get as many points as we possibly can. But here we are on board with the Toro Rosso, my championship rival of Carlos Sainz, going down in towards the Parabolica side by side with the Red Bull of Daniel Ricciardo. So who's going to come out on top in the sister team battles? They go down start finish straight. Carlos Sainz does exactly what Marcus Ericsson has done. He is out. He is out of today's Italian Grand Prix. That is fantastic news for us in this career mode. He is out of today's race. We are going to gain at least 18 points on him in the championship here today. Maybe 15 if we mess it up and get overtaken by Max Verstappen. But we could possibly gain 25 whole points in him in this race if we can get past Valtteri Bottas. But we've decided to go onto the super soft tyres for the end of the race. I believe Valtteri Bottas has also come into the pits on this exact same race as on this exact same lap, as there is a set of 4 lowly tyres in the pit lane there, just literally sitting, not too sure who they belong to, but hopefully somebody claims them later on in the race. But we come out in, I believe this is 3rd position right now, as Max Verstappen has not pitted yet, but we should get back past him because he does still have to make one more pit stop to go onto the super soft tyres till the end of the race. But here's a replay on board with Carlos Sainz going down the start-finish straight, and he just moves over to the right-hand side for some reason to decide he wants to go into the pit lane, even though there's a driver there. He could have just lifted off, got round Daniel Ricciardo and gone into the pits, but he decided not to do that, and he is out of the race. And that is a huge error from my championship rivals. That's going to lose him a lot of points in today's race. So we're battling with the Renault of Kevin Magnussen on the final lap here. Can we get position? It's not really for position, but it's an exciting little battle between myself and the Renault. Valtteri Bottas wins today's race, which is a fantastic result, seeing as the Williams team are so far down in the vehicle performance comparison, just showing that straight line speed is all that matters here today, as we're following in the slipstream of the Renault driver, who's going to be on top, down towards line, side by side, and we just about nick it ahead of the Renault of Kevin Magnussen. It didn't really mean much, but still, 2nd place in today's race is a fantastic result. What a race there then at the Italian Grand Prix. A great result for us, and a great result for Valtteri Bottas, in fact. Starting down in 14th position, it looked like the 2-stop strategy was the strategy to be on, as Valtteri Bottas won, Max Verstappen was in 3rd, and Lewis Hamilton was in 4th, and all those guys doing the 2-stop strategy. And Romain Grosjean in 5th as well, also doing a 2-stop strategy. So maybe we should have done the 2-stop strategy. We probably would have won the race had we have done that, but unfortunate that we just messed up the strategy and missed out on that race win. But still, a great job from Valtteri Bottas to get Williams' first win of the season. We finished in 2nd, Max Verstappen 3rd, Lewis Hamilton 4th, and Romain Grosjean in 5th, with Sebastian Vettel 6th. Nico Hülkenberg, my teammate, getting back up into the points in 7th after that crash with Kimi Räikkönen, who finished the race in 8th. Nico Rosberg finishes in 9th with Fernando Alonso, rounding out the top 10 and getting the final championship point here today. Looking further down the field then, we have a couple of DNFs. Daniel Ricciardo actually DNFing from today's race on the final lap. So that is why we don't have any footage of that, because it was actually after I crossed the line. But Jolyon Palmer, Felipe Nasr, Rio Haryanto, all those guys 1 lap down. Then we have Carlos Sainz, our championship rival, not finishing today's race. A disappointing result for him, a great result for us. Marcus Ericsson also getting a DNF, and so did Felipe Massa. But just looking at who had bad races, Kevin Magnussen and Jolyon Palmer, right down at the back of the field. We know that car has great straight line speed because of all the upgrades that we did on it last season. I just don't know why they are not performing in the season at the moment. They have not had a good result since about the Russian Grand Prix when they had that crash at the beginning of the race. So maybe that has affected them massively. I'm not too sure, but a disappointing race for both the Renault drivers. Let's have a look and see how this affects us in the drivers' standings. And we have caught up the gap. We caught up 18 points to Carlos Sainz, bringing the gap now to 35 points in the championship. So the championship is still on between myself and Carlos Sainz. Danny Kvyat dropping off massively, so we're not really too worried about him at this stage of the season, but there is still a long way left to go, and he could certainly come back into this. But we're doing a great job of catching up to Carlos Sainz, doing exactly what is needed of us. We just need to carry on this momentum through the dodgy stage of the season. I call it the dodgy stage of the season because in the first 2 seasons of this career mode, we have not done well in the likes of Singapore, Japan, America, Mexico, Brazil, or Abu Dhabi. So we need to change that this season. We need to get good results there to try and catch up to Carlos Sainz in the championship. But let's have a look and see how we have done in the constructors. And as you can see, we have closed up the margin, 121 points at the moment between ourselves and Toro Rosso. There's still a long way to go if we want to challenge for the Constructors' Championship. We need to start getting maybe a couple of 1-2s for myself and Nico Hülkenberg. We had a good opportunity last time at the Belgian Grand Prix, but unfortunately Hülkenberg messed that up with the strategy that he was on. And we did have a good chance here today, but unfortunately Hülkenberg getting caught up in that collision with Kimi Räikkönen. So it looks like Nico Hülkenberg isn't pulling his weight at the moment, but hopefully he can do that as the season goes on. But that is it for today's Italian Grand Prix. Let's head back to the menus. Looking at the rivalry update against Carlos Sainz, it looks like we are going to beat him for the first time in this rivalry, which is absolutely fantastic. It's 30-26. He nearly did actually come back at the end of the day, but nevertheless, we still beat him, and that's the first time that we are beating Carlos Sainz in the rivalry update, which is great news for us, as we will get a new rival. It's probably going to be Danny Kvyat because he is closest to us in the championship, but we have finally managed to beat him. It's 1-1 actually between the two of us, so it'll be exciting to see when we get him as a rival again, who comes out in the top of that battle. But at the moment, we have 630 free resource points, which isn't enough to upgrade anything apart from the fuel efficiency, but we're not really going to focus on that. But I've left it up to you guys. Do you want us to cease the research and development? If you do, then we will upgrade the fuel efficiency next time around at the Singapore Grand Prix, then cease it so we can save all of our resource points for next season. But I'm more tempted not to do that, because at the moment I am in a championship battle, and heading into the races that we are heading into, I kind of need as many upgrades as I possibly can to try and challenge with those guys. I need to try and give myself an advantage over those guys, otherwise I'm going to struggle massively against them. But like I've said, I've left it up to you guys, so don't forget to leave a comment and also vote in the poll that is in the top right corner of your screens. But that's it for today's Italian Grand Prix. If you have enjoyed the episode, don't forget to smash that like button. Also subscribe to my channel if you are new around here, and I'll see you next time at the Singapore Grand Prix. But until then, it's goodbye from me.